touching the earth to guide our engagement with climate and social justice. The first contemplation. Mother Earth, I open myself to your joy and your pain. Recognizing that we are, I see that my views and actions affect your well-being and suffering, and the well-being of myself and all other species. Breathing with mindfulness, I am in touch with the insight that I am not separate from you, Mother Earth, or from all beings. Your well-being and mine are connected. When I cling to and act on views based in ignorance, craving, fear, and aversion, I contribute to corporate and governmental policies and systems that have harmed others, degraded the environment, and brought our climate into crisis. With compassion, I bear witness to the sacrifice zones, melting permafrost, rising sea levels, extreme temperatures, and wildfires, as well as to the steep decline and extinction of species. I recognize that these events arise from generations of neglect and violence that stem from wrong views about our collective relationship with you, Mother Earth. Knowing that suffering and happiness are, I draw strength from your great equanimity. As I see and meet these challenges, I aspire to train myself not to fall into despair, escapism, or paralysis, but instead to cultivate loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity toward my body, feelings, and others. Through the concrete practice of nonviolence, I am determined to find ways to change the situation, both in my own life and in society. Touching the earth, I am aware that I am part of a larger planetary body, and I share limited resources with countless others. I see clearly that when I live more simply and share with others, I already have enough conditions for happiness and can better support equitable living conditions for everyone. The second contemplation. Mother Earth, I see that my thoughts influence my actions and have real effects on the world. I aspire to give rise to loving thoughts towards myself and all beings. Mother Earth, I witness your great capacity to hold and embrace all beings as your children. When I can connect with this same quality of inclusiveness in me, I am able to embrace the current climate emergency without falling into judgment, anger, grief, or despair. As I reflect on those doing harm and worsening the situation, I practice sending them loving thoughts and recognize they are not my enemy. The roots of harmful actions are wrong perceptions and misunderstanding. Letting go of my tendency to think of others as separate from me, I feel compassion arise toward all of us for our collective situation. Looking deeply, I am aware that my lifestyle and my community's lifestyle also contribute to ecological suffering. I am determined to develop and maintain bodhicitta, the mind of love, to give me strength to embrace and transform my habitual ways of thinking and acting, and to support others on the path of awakening and healing. I know that cultivating inclusiveness and bodhicitta will help me transform challenging situations and act to bring about a positive, regenerative future for all of us. The third contemplation. Mother Earth, I am inspired by your capacity to receive my unskillful words and strong emotions with compassion and solidity. I realize my words can create division and despair in others if I am not mindful. When I practice loving speech, I can water positive seeds instead, like hope and compassion. When I practice deep listening, I gain more clarity and understanding about myself and others. I know deep listening and loving speech help me skillfully engage in constructive dialogue about the climate crisis in ways that move the heart. In the past, I have spoken out of anger or fear and caused others to turn away or react defensively and angrily. Now, when I am called to speak in support of climate action or to address perspectives conflicting with my own, I will practice speaking in a way that inspires others to engage positively. I realize true dialogue can only occur when both parties are willing to be fully present with each other. When the energies of anger, impatience, and despair come up in me, I will practice mindful breathing and walking to calm myself. When I re-establish my capacity to listen deeply to myself and the other person, I will transform those energies into understanding and compassion. Only when I communicate in this spirit might the other person receive my words with openness. I will learn to communicate in ways that inspire individuals, corporations, and institutions to recognize the harmful effects of their actions, to give up the culture of consumption, to transform our dependence on fossil fuels, and to support regenerative economies that honor and protect you and all your children. The fourth contemplation. Mother Earth, so much has been done to hurt you. I bear witness to this pain and wish to begin anew, now that I see clearly how my actions and those of so many of us have harmed you, bringing about a dangerous and uncertain imbalance for all life. I see that the pollution and disruption of communities and ecosystems and the destruction of biodiversity stems from destructive and exploitative patterns of consumption, including the burning of fossil fuels, that have brought much harm and suffering to you, Mother Earth, and to all of us. Deep in my heart, I earnestly wish to reduce harm and engender healing. I know nonviolent direct action can bring real social change. I realize that to practice true nonviolent action, I first must learn how to deal peacefully with my own suffering. That is why I touch the earth now, letting go of my fears, anxieties, and anger, so I may cultivate the clarity, compassion, and courage to act wisely. Like the earth holder bodhisattva, Dharanimdhara, who supports, preserves, and protects the air, water, soil, and all beings without exceptions, I am committed to practice the way of earth holding for the safety and well-being of all beings and environments, especially those most impacted by ecological degradation. Upholding reverence for life, I am determined not to engage in the destruction of life and life systems, and not to support any act of killing in the world, in my thinking, or in my way of life. I see the profound interrelationship between social, racial, and environmental justice. I am moved to act to bring an end to the inequitable distribution of natural resources and discriminatory policies that continue to harm your children and destabilize communities around the world. I can no longer close my eyes to the industrial food system, which contributes directly to greenhouse gas emissions, the suffering of living beings, soil depletion, the massive draining of aquifers, and the destruction of biodiversity. Aware of these harms, I see that it is not difficult to reduce my consumption of harmful industrial products or to abstain from them completely. I am inspired by the many indigenous cultures all over the earth and seek to honor their wisdom and knowledge for living more simply and harmoniously with you, Mother Earth. I see that we are your stewards, Mother Earth, and with this insight comes great responsibility to act for your well-being and for future generations. I know the best way to care for the future is to practice dwelling happily and mindfully in the present moment, unattached to the fruits of my actions. In this way, I am able to work with ease and joy, fully present and fully appreciating the conditions around me. When a community of earth holders embodies this spirit, that community can impact society and produce social change. In the present moment, I am committed to protecting those most harshly impacted by the climate crisis by supporting direct, local actions. I am motivated to help communities, corporations, and governments look deeply into their past, present, and future impacts so they may change their ways, adopting new low-carbon policies, renewable energies, and sustainable resource use. Reverence for the lives of all future generations moves me to live lightly on the earth, using present moment sources of energy, including sunlight. Mother Earth, I know you are truly there for me and that I can trust you. So that I may regain your trust and be truly there for you, I am learning how to live and consume in a way that preserves my health, that of other beings, and future generations. Just as inflammation indicates imbalance or illness in my own body, climate and ecological disruption indicates imbalance in your body, Mother Earth. I deeply wish to reduce this inflammation. Now I see that doing so requires me to make meaningful changes in how I make a living. I know that the desire for wealth, power, fame, and sensual pleasures can blind me to how my livelihood may contribute to releasing toxins into my own body and into our atmosphere, soil, and rivers. This inspires me to choose a vocation that does not exploit other people or you, Mother Earth. I know that many human cultures have fallen into the habit of stealing from and oppressing others, exploiting the land and each other for labor, and using violent means to extract natural resources so we may consume them in excess. With compassion in my heart, I am determined to live to transform the habit of exploitation and preserve my own health, as well as the health of other living beings, future generations, and you, Mother Earth, by adopting a way of life that is fulfilling, creative, and in harmony with nature. In that way, I may be present for loved ones and support our most vulnerable communities. The sixth contemplation. Mother Earth, I admire your enduring capacity for regeneration as you diligently transform decaying matter into new life. I see that I too have this capacity, and that I can find more skillful ways to handle my difficult emotions. I will not neglect them or let them spread like a wildfire in my consciousness, but will learn how to embrace, honor, and transform them into insight and wise action. When I look deeply into the climate crisis, I see that emotions like anger, fear, greed, and despair have led to violence and harm toward one another and to the desecration of our environment. This strongly motivates me to take care of my emotions, to recognize, accept, embrace, and look deeply into them as soon as they arise. Shining the light of mindfulness on my emotions, I help them transform so I may have more calm, clarity, and insight. I will learn to cultivate appropriate attention and be more vigilant about what I am consuming through my senses, including news, social media, and conversations. In this way, I can understand clearly what is fueling my emotions and whether it is beneficial or harmful. Your capacity for regeneration reminds me that conditions for happiness are already available in the present moment. I will train myself with mindful breathing and walking to keep this awareness alive. I will use my mindful steps to invite positive emotions like compassion, understanding, and love to come up and thrive in my consciousness for longer periods of time. I know there are pathways of healing in community that will allow me to transform the roots of painful emotions that belong primarily to my past and my ancestors' past. Immersion in nature, enough rest, and community living all help to contribute to my own mental solidity, peace, and joy, keeping my engagement with Earth holding sustainable. The seventh contemplation. Mother Earth, your deep love penetrates all of us, your children. Thanks to this love, I have learned how to shine the light of mindfulness on the pain in our collective consciousness to bring about healing and transformation in myself and in the world. I know now that the climate and ecological crisis, including the mass extinction of species, results from our individual and collective ignorance about the full effects of our actions. Mindfulness allows us to be fully present, alert, fearless, and free to see how our choices have real effects on you, Mother Earth, on the climate, and on people, animals, plants, and minerals. In this way, I see clearly what to do and what not to do. I commit to cultivating the energy of mindfulness in my daily life by remembering to stop, come back to my breathing, and become aware of what is going on within me and around me in the present moment. I see it is a joy to be alive. I will practice to nourish myself with the wonders of the present moment, so I have more energy to act for change and to help myself and my community heal the collective wounds at the root of the climate and ecological crisis. Mindful that all states, governments, and institutions are of the nature to form and to collapse, I will continually do my best to address real social and ecological injustice by building resilient and regenerative communities. Doing this, I plant seeds that will sprout into new cultures and societies. The eighth contemplation. Mother Earth, your capacity to endure fills me with genuine awe and respect. With the energy of concentration, I open myself to the experience of oneness with you and touch the unconditioned. I know my mind is often dispersed and unable to come back to and focus on what is really going on in the present moment. I easily get attached to concepts, images, sounds, words, points of view, emotions, and other sense impressions. Unifying my body and mind right now through mindfulness of breathing, I let go of these perceptions and conditioned phenomena and see that my mind has the capacity to become stable, calm, and free. There is nowhere to go and nothing to do, just the experience of the breath and the body in this present moment. From here, noble action is possible. The Buddha taught the 3 doors of liberation as themes of meditation to help us become free from our concepts and notions and to maintain that freedom. I see that the 3 doors help me act in the world with joy and happiness without getting trapped by devastating emotions like despair. Practicing the concentration on emptiness, I let go of the view that this body is me, mine, or myself, that this culture, society, or civilization is me, mine, or myself, or that the human species is me, mine, or myself. In this body is the entire cosmos, stardust, water, wind, atoms, and quarks. Yet it is empty of one thing, a separate self. All is action and process, cause and effect. This is the wondrous nature of interbeing. Everything is intimately connected. With this realization, I am filled with joy and clarity. For so long, I have clung to the perception that I am a separate self. This perception cuts me off from others, leaving me alone and isolated from you, Mother Earth, and I get caught in the belief that when this body dies, everything ends. Now I see that these are mere notions. Even as I grasp them, they slip through my fingers, change, and disappear. Touching emptiness, I touch the fullness of all things, everywhere. I can remain stable in the face of losing everything I hold dear. Those I love and care for, the institutions, businesses, states, and governments that support and sustain me. Even the extinction of humankind and countless species. I learn to touch the ultimate dimension, nirvana, in this present moment and receive the gift of non-fear, bright, beautiful, and open. I see that you and I, Mother Earth, have not ever been separate in this dance of birth and death, spanning billions of years. Sorrow, despair, and fear can no longer overwhelm and paralyze me. I can act with love and compassion, unburdened by fear. Practicing the concentration on signlessness, I am no longer caught by appearances. This body, these feelings, these perceptions, these mental formations and consciousness are flowing streams. I stop grasping at sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touch, or thoughts. Experiencing events in the world, but not getting caught by the sign or appearance of those events. Seeing this frees me to touch the love that pervades the millions of people who have contributed and are continuing to contribute to transforming the situation of the climate crisis in unacknowledged ways. Touching this fills me with determination to help, to serve, and to act wherever I am, with the scope and capacity available to me. Practicing the concentration on aimlessness, I do not let myself be carried away by the emotions and desires of the majority, or by expectations of what must happen in the future. I no longer look for happiness outside of myself or at some point in the future, but dwell happily in the present moment, knowing the future is forged right here in this moment. This way, I naturally manifest a deep aspiration to help without expectation of result. I am able to access the deep stores of energy transmitted to me by my blood, spiritual, and land ancestors who worked tirelessly in the spirit of service and love for the sake of your well-being, Mother Earth, and to transform situations of social injustice. With this energy, there is no limit to what is possible, and I can continue to work for the liberation of all beings in whatever form they may take in the future.